Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for tuning into the second episode of Resurrecting Jesus. This is Rabbi Baal Shiva. I am a linguistic philosopher skilled in Jewish Exegesis. In a way, we're responding to Bill O'Reilly's excellent book and now movie, Killing Jesus. It was a very good depiction of Jesus from conventional history and what can be known about Jesus from conventional wisdom. We're going to look at a more controversial depiction of Jesus, some things that I have noticed that other philosophers and historians have not noticed. First of all, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Now, if we break this down phonetically, it comes to Beth Elohim or Bethlehem. Now, if we translate it, Bethlehem, it means house of life. And if we translate it Beth Elohim, it means house of the gods. That's one mystery worthy of closer inspection. Secondly, they refer to Jesus as Jesus of Nazareth or Jesus the Nazarene. Now, the Nazar is a talisman or an amulet. It represents a blue eye. It originated with the Jains in India, but it also became the Hamsa, which is in India. It became embraced by Jews and some Christians in the East, and then later some Muslims adopted it as the Hand of Fatima. It is used as a symbol for peace, but it is also used as protection from the evil eye. Now, the evil eye is a Persian eyeball hex that was mentioned by Socrates in the Phaedo. Ayaan Hirsi Ali was named by her parents after it, so her name actually translates to Evil Eye Ali, because the evil eye is the Ayin Harsha or the Ayin Hara. I have a personal confession to make. When I was being raised Jehovah's Witness, I didn't really have a personal connection to Jesus. It wasn't that I wasn't trying to have a personal relationship with Jesus. He just seemed flat as a character. He didn't seem real. He didn't seem believable. It wasn't until later, when I studied Indian philosophy, that I began to have a feeling of Jesus as a real person, that he had really lived, and I began to understand him and feel his presence. And that was happening because I was sensing Shiva in Jesus, or I was sensing through Jesus Shiva, as though Jesus was an avatar of Shiva. Interestingly, Nicholas Rourke and Helena Petrovna Blavatsky traced Jesus' lineage and his footsteps during the years of his life that are missing from the Bible to India and Tibet. And in those temples, they record every person that has ever stepped foot in them. And they record the date at which that person stepped foot in them. For thousands of years, they have these records. Blavatsky and Rourke claimed that they found Jesus' signature in those books around the time where he would have most likely been in those places. And further interest is that the person that was recognized as Jesus in India eventually got kicked out of India for doing the same thing that he did in Rome, which was fraternizing with the untouchables. The subcastes, those that are below the Thomas Guna, essentially like the lepers that are mentioned in the Bible. It's forbidden to interact with those people. I would argue that the Hamsa, not only is it a genuine Judeo-Christian religious symbol, I would argue that it is also a stylized version of the Shiva Lingam, the Western version of the Shiva Lingam. If you look at it and its equilateral proportions, it's not at all, it doesn't at all look like a hand. Now, the way religions work is they conceal their origins and their connections to other religions. To acknowledge that you have a connection or an origin from another religion would be to grant a type of equity to that other religion, and thus it marginalizes the authority of the religious leader. There is a well-documented Hindu-Hebrew connection that is recorded in Proto-Indo-European and the evolution of Western thought and philosophy, ending in the creation of Western civilization. Now we're going to address another mystery. While Jewish descent is determined matrilineally, Jesus described his connection to David patrilineally. There are these people known as the Kohanim, and they are given honorary status as rabbis because they are prophets, soothsayers, augurs, shamans, and gurus. And they are considered Jews patrilineally instead of matrilineally. Now, when rabbis and Kabbalists refer to Edomites, they're referring to the descendants of Esau, who was a mighty hunter, and they are referring to the Christians, because the Edomites are essentially that's a code word for the Christians. Now, Esau is depicted as saying, "Give me some of the red there, the red." Now, in Jewish exegesis, you have to understand that everything is there for a purpose. David also was a mighty warrior, and he was said to have had a ruddy complexion. If you think of the root word, the etymology of all these words, red, ruddy, rude, and the connection to the Latin word for root, which is radix, which is where the word radish comes from. I want you to contemplate this. Shiva was originally a fire god by the name of Rudra. Every Brahmin priest was supposed to always have a flame burning in their hearth, and there was also an eternal flame that was associated with the Ark of the Covenant. Now I'm going to jump into some later history, that of Pythagoras. If we study the history of Pythagoras in ancient Greece, we see that animal sacrifice and the eating of animals sacrificed to God was a Greek institution and a sacrament. It's very reminiscent of the stories told in the Bible. Pythagoras did not forbid the eating of all meat. He just forbade the eating of meat which from animals that could have souls. And by that, what he meant is animals that could be domesticated and worked with and didn't present a harm to humans. The tradition of eating meat, which was essentially sustained the high priests of Aaron, meant that they would have bigger brains and bigger muscles. If you compare this to the tradition in Tibet, where the priests or the monks will come to your door, and they will bring a begging bowl, and they will offer to pray for you and do exorcisms and teach you wisdom and teach you about their stories, and in return they get food. This was equivalent in a way, because the high priests of Aaron performed these functions, and they were paid in animal sacrifices. Because God didn't eat the meat. He only sniffed the meat. It was the smell of the flesh cooking that fed God. Well, that's going to be it for our second episode of Resurrecting Jesus. Thank you for tuning in. There will be more in our third episode as we discuss why Jesus was the Son of God and how he was the Son of God. May you have a blessed day.